Good morning. It is Sunday and I'm fired up. I'm feeling good this morning. The college football Saturday didn't end as planned though. um, I know that I
Oh
recorded the
no, it didn't.
I recorded the videos um, last night around 7:30, and at the time I was killing it. So in the beginning of the video, I'm like, "We're having a great day." The late slate didn't go as planned. What the UCLA lost, Utah. So we actually finished out around even. So, but still, it was a good day. It was fun. We didn't a lot of good football games on. I'm not really sweating it. 1 second, skip the ad, make sure we're good. All right, so no prop beaver today. He's in Philadelphia for something. Who knows? He probably told me. I just didn't listen. Um, let's get started because it is my mother's birthday, and after this, I'm going to watch the games with my family. I'm surprising my mom at church at 12. Tell me that's not Son of the Year award. Surprising my mom at church.
That's 100%. Yeah,
Yeah, and she
give it
always
to the man right now.
she always goes every Sunday, and no, like me, my brother, my dad, none of us go with her. So like I'm surprising her there. Anyway, let's talk about the first game, and it's Eagles at Colts, and ooh, I started this without even having my notes open. What an amateur move. I'm gonna start because I like this pick a lot, and I'll put the pick here. My notes. So I have two bets in this one, and the bets are as followed: Eagles -6.5. Eagles first half -3.5. I'm back on the Eagles kick. Not gonna let one game scare me off. Here we go. Put it on the screen. Beautiful. All right. So, what are the Eagles' weaknesses? Obviously, it's been defending the run all year, right? It's clear that the Eagles' weaknesses are on the defensive side of the ball because even last week, against a good defense like Washington, the Eagles turned the ball over 4 times and still scored 21 points. So, there's no question that the Eagles' offense is absolutely elite in every sense of the word. And the Colts defense is good, but it's not playing better than Washington's right now. So if the Eagles are able to score 21 points on Washington with 4 turnovers, I don't see any reason they're not in the high 20s, if not the 30s, in this game against the Colts. um, if I'm an Eagles fan, I'm not worried at all about the offense. The defense is a bit of a different story, but even last week in their loss, I mean, Washington only had 331 yards of offense, averaging just 4.1 yards a play, 3.1 yards a carry. Philadelphia's defense play all right. It was the turnovers that killed them, and a weird ass missed face mask call. um, but overall, everyone knows the Eagles' weakness throughout the season has been defending the run. But do the Colts even have a good run game? I mean, let me get this straight. The Colts have been terrible running the ball all year. Jonathan Taylor rips off one 66-yard touchdown, and all of a sudden, JT's back. 1 66-yard run. I mean, did you know that if you take away that run last week against the Raiders, that he averaged less than 4 yards a carry in that game? I mean, he didn't even play that well. He ripped off one run. I mean, you already know Jeff Saturday's coming out trying to run the ball. I know that. Everyone in this chat knows that. You know who else knows it? Sirianni and the Eagles. They're going to be ready for it. This Eagles team is really good. I'm not letting one game knock me off this team. So I'm betting the Eagles first half and full game. Sean, why don't you go second?
Yeah, I'm with you on the Eagles full game. I'll probably sprinkle the first half too, but personally, I'm only on the full game. Yeah, exactly. Like you said, the Eagles lost last week. It was an in division game, Monday Night Football, and they had so much shit that had to go wrong. Quez Watkins catches the ball that should have set up the game-winning touchdown, gets up, tries to keep running, fumbles. Goddard fumbles when he gets his head ripped off with no call. And then they finally get a stop, get a chance to get the ball back at the end of the game. Brandon Graham hits Heineke after he scrambles for 8 seconds and then just takes a knee randomly on the field, which is asinine. Like, there were so many like fluky and weird things that had to happen in order for the Eagles to lose. Like, the sky's not falling on this team. And I'm with you. I love the fact that the Colts looked as good as they did last week versus the Raiders. The Eagles, we talked about this off air. I think me and you both think this is huge blowout potential for the Eagles here. Jeff Saturday, yeah, congrats, you won your debut. You also face probably the worst coach in the NFL and one of the worst teams in the NFL in the Las Vegas Raiders. That is not this Eagles team. I expect Gannon to stack the box. They know the Colts are running. And Matt Ryan back there is the most sacked quarterback in the NFL. He's a statue, and they're not worried about the pass game at all.
All right. What about Mr. Buusha over there?
Well, I definitely agree with Eagles first half minus 3.5. I'm actually on the Indianapolis side here, and it's mostly to do with if you look, and I'm a big fan of looking at the last 3 games as far as like yards per attempt on the pass and the run, and Indianapolis the way they've been playing on the defensive line, they've only been allowing 3.2 yards per rush attempt. So it's really, to me, that means you're going to have to put a lot of emphasis on just the pass game and Jalen's game. So I want to see if this is, since this is currently the best run defense in the last 3 weeks, if Philadelphia is just going to show up and just accept that challenge. I do think that the secondary is a little bit of concern for the Colts, but I just feel like there's a backdoor cover potential here, and I just can't take the 6.5.
Fair enough. Next game, and this one, like, I really like the games today. I think we're going to see some awesome finishes. But this one, I had a frown on my face doing all the research for this because there's just nothing exciting about it. I'm kind of... No, I don't want to say I'm tailing Sean, but, like, I kind of am. I was kind of up in the air, and I know Sean said... I mean, I don't think he's crazy about it either. But I know Sean had mentioned earlier, we were a guest on another podcast, and he had mentioned he liked the Rams. I do have some notes for the Rams, though. So, something that immediately had me scared of a Rams bet, or the fact that the Saints have been pretty good at home this year. They beat the Raiders at home, they beat the Seahawks at home, they almost beat the Vikings at home, and they almost beat the Bengals. Those are their 4 home games. They could be 4-0 at home. They came really close to beating the Vikings and Cincinnati at home. In fact, the only bad home game that the Saints have played all year was that primetime game, and we know how Andy Dalton is on primetime. He's arguably the worst quarterback of all time on primetime. So that 100% points towards a Saints bet, right? But the injuries, and I know the Saints have been dealing with injuries all year, but there's new ones. Obviously, Marshawn Lattimore's still out. That's their best corner, best D-back. But now both Marcus Davenport and Cameron Jordan out. That's both their edge rushers. I mean, those two and Lattimore, that's 3 of the 4 best players on the Saints defense, with Demario Davis being the only remaining one in the lineup. I don't know how. I mean, Matt Stafford's back on the field, and he hasn't been good. But how do you stop a passing attack when your defense isn't that good to begin with, and you're missing both your edge rushers and your best corner? I can't do it. And then you're asking me to lay points. I feel like the reason the line is this, that a lot of people are in the fade the Rams blindly mode, probably deservingly so. I don't love the idea of betting the Rams, but the truth is, with these injuries and Matt Stafford back, I feel like this is a buy low spot for the Rams, getting 2.5. I think they win a disgusting game. I was going to put the under 2, but a lot of people are on the under, so I stayed off. So even without Cooper Kupp, Matt Stafford should have all day, and he should have plenty of open receivers to throw to. I actually think we'll even see the Rams running the ball a little bit. I'm hoping we finally see... Sean, what's the kid's name from Notre Dame that's on the Rams running the ball? What the hell's his name? Kyron Williams.
Yeah, Kyron.
Hopefully I don't think we will, but hopefully we see him get some reps. I'm on the Rams 2.5. I'm not crazy about it though. Sean?
Yeah, I like the Rams. I liked the Rams early in the week. Once Stafford was back playing, then I seen the Saints injury report, as you pointed out, and now I really like the Rams. I understand they're missing Cooper Kupp. He has been basically the entire Rams offense. I get that. But this Saints secondary is super banged up. Missing Lattimore. He's hands down their best corner, one of the best corners in football. And then they have weapons. Matthew Stafford, I think, is actually going to realize Allen Robinson's on the team today. So he'll get the ball a little bit. And I said it on the Chop Sports show the other day. This is the Ben Skoranek game. He looks like Cooper Kupp a little bit. They're both
does.
short, skinny
He
white dudes.
does.
He might actually just forget Cooper Kupp was even missing. So I think Skoranek has a good game. And then also Higbee, the tight end, has had a pretty solid season for the Rams so far. I think they get him more involved in this one. And then the fact that the total is only 39 and they know, the books are expecting this to be a low-scoring game. I love that, especially more for the Rams. They get to 14, 17 points in this game. I think that's a cover.
Yeah, as crazy as that sounds, I think if they hit 14, they probably cover this. What about Mr. Buusha? Are you with us?
Well, not on this one. First of all, I do like the over. The reason why is if you look in the last 3 weeks, the Rams are only averaging 2.9 yards a carry. So they're only have to rely on Stafford. And if you look through this entire year, when Stafford's had a clean pocket, he's been playing worse. So I don't know if I can really jump on the same idea that you guys are on, that he's got a cleaner pocket, so he's gonna, play better. And I don't know. I can't really go with that. So I'm gonna have to go with the Saints here at home, -2.5. They've just played so well at home, as you already mentioned, and I just can't join it.
Hey, I completely understand your hesitation to bet the Rams. I share the same hesitation. All right, let's move on to the next one. A hard game to cap, but honestly think this is going to be on the Red Zone channel all day. This should be a fun one to watch. Bears on the road in Atlanta. Justin Fields is like a walking highlight reel now. This is where the start of me and Sean's disagreements come, because me and Sean disagree on like 5 of them today. So I'm on Atlanta, but yeah, we're on a bunch of different ones. I'm on Atlanta, but honestly, I'm only a half unit. What I did was I did Atlanta -3, and check this out. Under 49, Bears team total under 23.5. I know that seems crazy from what we've seen so far. I've seen recently from the Bears. It seems like almost the opposite, right? Hold on, let me pull out my notes. So the Bears defense is obviously terrible, right? It's allowed everyone's talking about Justin Fields. This is why I'm on the Falcons. The Bears have allowed 115 points in their last 3 games. 115 points. That's like how many points a team lets up in half a season. That's in the last 3 games. Look, I'm not a big buyer into this kind of stuff, but I feel like it's worth mentioning the fact that the Falcons are 1 game out of the division. Look, I'm not saying the Bears, I'm not a tanking guy, but I feel like it's definitely worth mentioning that one team is playing for something and one team isn't. There's probably a good amount of people in the Bears organization that believe it's in their best interest to lose. Once again, not implying that they're tanking. I'm just saying, let's be aware of that. Falcons are 1 game out. They could be in first place. Oh no, they lost to the Bucs, so they could be tied for first place after today, in theory. The Falcons defense is bad. I'm not going to try to tell you that it isn't. But the strength of the Falcons defense is stopping the run. Do you know they're allowing just 4.4 yards per carry, which is tied for 9th best in the NFL? It's their defense against the pass that's terrifying. And what I expect the Falcons to do is keep Justin Fields in the pocket. Don't even try to rush him. Just put 2 QB spies on the edge. Keep him in the pocket. Does Justin Fields really scare you sitting in the pocket throwing the ball 40 times? I know he's making throws and I know he's developing as a passer, but honestly, do you really does he scare you in the pocket, going down to like his 3rd or 4th read? We haven't seen him do that since his days as an Ohio State Buckeye. Now, why I'm on the under, this is crazy sharp because everyone's on the over, but if everyone's on the over, explain to me why the total for this game was at 50.5, then 50, then 49.5, then 49. It's actually on 48.5 on some books now. This line is dropping despite everyone betting the over. Serious reverse line movement on the total here. The juice is heavier on the Chicago side. It's up to -120. So I honestly think that this number could drop to 2.5. So as far as betting the Falcons, I'm holding out. I might make this bet at 12.59. I'm going to try to get that 2.5. So yeah, I really could see Atlanta winning by a field goal. That's what I'm waiting out. So I'm going to take Atlanta and some under bets here. Sean, tell us why you're going to lose with the Bears.
I'm on the Bears. Justin Fields has, the past few weeks, has looked like the best running quarterback in the NFL. kind of a slight to Lamar Jackson, but Fields has been ridiculous the past few weeks. In this Bears offense, Darnell Mooney looks like he's going to be a real weapon in the passing game moving forward for this Bears team. He's had a good couple weeks. Claypool is what he is. He's not very good. I can't believe they traded that pick for him. I'm never going to get over that. But that being said, as I pointed out on the show last week, the Bears are the best team in the NFL at almost winning games. So last week we faded them as a favorite because we needed them to actually win. We knew that wasn't going to happen. This game we just need them to almost win. So I'll gladly take the 3 points with the Bears in this one versus a bad Falcons team who I think is on the verge of making a quarterback change.
Agreed.
I also agree with what you just said. I'm on +3 for the Bears as well. I just think this is a field goal game, as you had mentioned. So I like the idea of getting these points here. The one thing that scares me is the Bears in the last 3 weeks are giving up 9.3 yards per pass attempt. So that's a little scary. So if Atlanta can, really use that play action passing game, they can probably pull away with it. But I just feel like with the way that they've started to utilize Justin Fields and actually using his full talents and not just, hey, go learn how to be a pocket quarterback, I think they're going to be able to play to keep up in this game. I do think the Falcons will end up winning this game, but I think the Bears and the points is the safer side.
All right. I'm on my own island there. And I knew I would be. The whole world's on Bears and over. So I know I'm on my own little island here. Next game, Washington at Houston. All right. God. All right, so I'm on Houston. Shit. Let me bring my bets over here. I'm on Houston and the under, and the under's definitely a little square, but so I like Taylor Heineke, but I feel like he is strictly hero ball. I like him when they're down 2 at the end of the game. I don't like him as laying points on the road in a game he's supposed to win. That's not the spot where Taylor Heineke shines. So here's something I want to point out. So what have we been saying about Washington's defense in recent weeks, in the last month and a half? They're great in the defensive front, right? They shut down the run. But hold on, because let's take a look at their last few road games here. Last week, obviously, Monday night, they went on the road to Philly. The Eagles had 20 carries for 94 yards. That's 4.7 yards a carry. That's not shutting down the run. As we already covered, the Eagles lost because of 4 turnovers. I mean, 4.7 yards a carry is an efficient run game. It didn't shut down the run at all. Want to know what the road game was before that? I mean, the Colts. Colts haven't been running the ball much this year either. Almost at all. They're one of the worst rushing teams efficiency-wise in the NFL, or bottom 10. Colts had 29 carries for 135 yards. Again, 4.7 yards a carry. It's not shutting the run down at all. In fact, Washington should have lost that game. They were down 16-10, I believe, and didn't Heineke driving back for a game-winning touchdown at the end. They won 17-16. Most importantly, they wouldn't have covered the 3. And then the road game before that was at Chicago. The Bears had 37 carries for 237 yards, 6.4 yards a carry. Maybe Washington's run defense is specific to home games, because in their last 3 road games, they got torched on the ground. I mean, teams are running on Washington when Washington's on the road. And what is the deal with this Texans offense, right? I mean, we know that Davis Mills is much better at home. He does a better job protecting the football, and that they rely on Dameon Pierce running the football. And if they're going to average 4.7 or greater yards per carry, which the last 3 teams did against Washington on the road, and Davis Mills doesn't turn the ball over like he hasn't been at home, then Washington has a pretty good chance of winning this game. I certainly like to have the 3 points in my pocket. Yeah, I like the Commanders. I think I have a good chance to win, but if they win, I think it's going to be another 17-16 game. I feel more comfortable with the +3. I'm on Houston.
Yeah, we were on the same side up until 4:30 yesterday, honestly. I was on the Texans all week long. Like you said, Davis Mills is a better quarterback at home. He has a QBR of 100 at home. It falls to 71 on the road. his turnover worthy plays actually like equals out to like almost doubles on the road as it does to home. And last week, this Texans team, given we cashed with the Giants, but that Texans offense had 6 red zone trips.
We didn't
versus
deserve the
Giants
cash.
last week,
We didn't deserve
and
the
only
cash.
got 1 touchdown. We got so lucky to win that Giants bet. That being said, Derek Stingley is out in this one for the Texans. He is even though he's a rookie, he is a legit #1 lockdown corner. And in my opinion, the best player on this Texans defense. I can't back them anymore. Their defense is abysmal. The fact that now they have nobody that's going to be able to couple Scary Terry, and who seems to have a lot of chemistry with Heineke since he's came in. McLaurin's season has been reinvigorated. I don't love the game. Like I said, I was on the Texans all week, but looking at the matchups now, schematically with Stingley out, I just see this Washington offense being able to move the ball versus this Texans team. And if the Commanders get a couple stops in this one, I think they cover.
All right, Washington. And what about you? Are you with us or with me or with Sean?
Well, for another time, I'm going to be with Sean. So the Stingley one is what really locked it in for me last night. I was considering switching over to Houston +3. But Stingley is just that guy. And if you don't have that guy covering McLaurin, what are you supposed to do here? With Stingley, even with Stingley, this defense was giving up 8 yards per play in the pass. And I just don't know. I mean, yeah, Houston seems to be playing better at home throughout the year. But, I mean, I just don't know. If you look at this, Washington is only averaging 6.7 yards per pass attempt or defensively. So you're expecting. I know Mills usually plays better at home, but I don't know if I like the idea of going against a team that doesn't have their star corner. That is the reason why they stay in games, because they can just shut down one important piece on the field. So I'm gonna have to Washington -2.5 on the road here. I think this is just, or I guess it's -3 now. I forgot. Yeah. But
yeah, it's -3, and it might be.
I'm just gonna stick with Washington.
I think this might be 3.5 before kickoff because it's juiced to the Washington side. Most books have it at -120, so this could very well be 3.5 before kickoff. So if you like Washington, I would bet it now. Next
yeah,
game.
I think it's 3.5. I'm switching for the sure.
It is 3.5. Oh, you're saying if it goes to 3.5,
consider. Yeah,
got it.
Because I don't screw with that half point, man.
Right.
I know how that goes.
I mean, when it comes to 3 too, that hook is big.
Yeah.
Jets at Patriots. I mean, of course I'm on the Jets. Of course. Jets are winning this game. I mean, Jets were the better team when these two teams met 2 games ago. They were the better team. They outgained the Patriots by 100 yards. Hold on one sec. My Jets notes are over here. They outgained the Patriots by 100 yards. The final score of that game was 22-17 Patriots. And the Jets had threw 3 interceptions and missed a field goal. Only lost by 5. Like, what did New England do that impressed you in that game? Like, they didn't run the ball well. Mac Jones had like 180 yards passing. Only 5.5 yards per pass attempt. And if you're worried about Zach Wilson throwing interceptions, I mean, 1, Zach Wilson has thrown 0 interceptions in 9 of his last 11 games. That's 1. And 2, if you're worried about Zach Wilson throwing interceptions, why don't you look at the other quarterback who's throwing interceptions at a higher rate? Mac Jones has 7 interceptions on the year. Zach Wilson only has 5, and they have the same amount of pass attempts. So it's not like one has played more or less games. They played the same amount of games with the same amount of pass attempts. One has 7 interceptions, one has 5. So to worry about Zach Wilson's interceptions and not Mac Jones just doesn't make any sense. I don't think either team has the edge when it comes to the quarterback. I think it's pretty even. And on the run game, Ramondre Stevenson's having a great year. Don't get me wrong. But since he took over as the starting running back, it hasn't been efficient at all. In the last 4 weeks since he took over, he's averaging just 4.03 yards a carry. That's 23rd in the NFL amongst qualified running backs in that time. This run game isn't efficient. It's not good. It's okay. The Patriots having a good run game is a mirage. It hasn't been there. And in case you haven't noticed, the Jets' run defense has been official. Running backs against the Jets in the past 4 games, 84 carries, 296 yards. It's 3.5 yards a carry. The Patriots averaged just 3.7 yards a carry when they played the Jets in the last game when they beat them. I think the Jets running back gets going. The Jets running game gets going. I think the game against New England last time it struggled because it was the first time playing a game without Breece Hall. Now they've gotten used to it. That Michael Carter, James Robinson combination is working. Jets are going to win this game straight up. So take the 3.5. Sean?
Yeah. Death, taxes, and the Patriots owning the Jets. As you pointed out, yes, the Jets have been playing better on paper. Honestly, they're probably the better team so far this year. That being said, Zach Wilson exists. I understand Mac Jones has been turning the ball over as well at a high rate, but Zach Wilson in his career so far versus the Patriots seems like a quarterback that just forgets how to play football. And in their last matchup, the Patriots generated 18 QB pressures. They only converted that into 2 sacks. I expect them, if they're able to get that much pressure again, I expect it to be a higher sack rate for them in this one. The Patriots generate the most pressure in the NFL, and Zach Wilson is the dead last ranked quarterback in the NFL versus pressure. This Jets offensive line is still banged up. Dwayne Brown has looked awful since he came back. I expect them to be able to get after Wilson in this one. And then the last matchup, the Patriots are missing David Andrews, one of their better linemen. He is back in this one, along with Devontae Parker in the passing game as well. Not as big of a note for Parker, but Andrews getting back is a big one. I expect the Patriots to cover this game.
I was laughing at one of the comments. All right, what do you think?
I think that he's on the Sauce Network picking against the Sauce Gardner. I don't like that. I don't like that at all. I'm on Jets plus 3.5, man. Like, I mean, let's look. The Patriots, they're 31st in the last 3 games in rush per attempt. They're 3.3 yards a carry. That's not going to get it done. And just Wilson, as Kyle mentioned, he's been taking care of the ball this season, and they've gotten used to James Robinson splitting time in the backfield with Michael. And I like the moxie that's behind this Jets team here. And I'm honestly going to be taking the money line as well. So give me the Jets 3.5 here.
Do it, Jets. Do it, Jets. I mean, it's no secret that the Jets are the better team this year. They're 6-3 with the 4th strongest schedule in football. The Patriots are 5-4 with the 18th strongest schedule. Jets are the better team. If Zach Wilson doesn't throw 3 picks in the first game, they win by 17. All right, next game. I'm excited to watch this one. Not as excited to bet it. I ended up settling on the G-Men -3. And trust me, I'm not going to be pitching you to tail me. If you're on the lines, I get it. Trust me. But really, I think it comes down to I don't think the Lions offense has not been the same on the road as it has been at home this year. There's plenty of examples of that. And I don't really want to go through all the stuff because this one's on YouTube, but the Lions against dual threat quarterbacks have been so bad. You got quarterbacks setting their career highs in rushing in a game like week after week against the Lions. And Daniel Jones can run the shit out of the ball. He's 4th in the NFL in rushing yards amongst quarterbacks. Jamal Williams hasn't been efficient running the ball at all. Against the last 2 games, he played 2 of the worst run defenses in the NFL in the Packers and Bears. He averaged 3.5 yards a carry against those 2 teams. Look, I'm not saying the Giants' run defense is good or like elite or anything, but it's better than the Packers and the Bears' run defense, that's for sure. DeAndre Swift, what's the deal? Did he sleep with Dan Campbell's wife or something? Like he gets no touches? Since returning from injury, he's played 3 games, 13 carries and 22 yards in the 3 games since he's been back. He doesn't even seem to be a focal point in the offense anymore. Maybe he's still hurt. Who knows? I like St. Brown. That's a part of the Lions offense I like, but I'm not in love with Goff. And like I said, Jamal Williams isn't running the ball efficiently. I think the Giants. I actually think that this game does have blowout potential, but it is the Giants. I think the Giants kind of laid an egg last week against the Texans and still covered. I like if you saw Daboll, I watched the whole game last week, and like Sean said, we didn't deserve that Giants -5 cover. We cashed. We did not deserve to cash. But the Giants were by no means happy with that. Daboll was freaking out on the sideline. I don't think the Giants left that game like, yeah, another win. Like, I think that was like I think Daboll might have came down on them, and I think even though they won and covered, I think it was a bit of a wake-up call, and I think the Giants can win this by touchdown plus. So I'm on the G-men. Sean?
Yeah, I'm on the Lions here, but again, I don't, like you stated, you want to tell me you're on the Giants, I have no issues about that. I could totally see why somebody would be on the Giants. That being said, I think these two teams are pretty even, not record-wise, but on the field-wise. I mean, the Lions are 13th in offensive DVOA, while the Giants are 15th, and the Lions are 26th in defensive DVOA, while the Giants are 24th. Like, they're both pretty even statistically if you look at it. I mean, we've said all year that the Giants, like, analytically are, like, not a good team. So that being said, like, I don't think this is that big of a discrepancy here versus this Lions team. As you pointed out, the Lions being outside does scare me. On the road, the offense tends to struggle a little bit, but I think they can have success versus Giants defense. I mean, the Giants are 24th in rush yards allowed per game, and then they're 18th in pass yards allowed per game. This is not an elite defense by any stretch. Jared Goff and the run game, I think, can have success in this one. And then just like the Bears, anytime I can get the Lions to just keep a game close, I'll gladly take it, especially with this year's team.
Yo, did you see the one dude joined the chat? He like wasn't even in here. He joined the chat just to throw in Dacus buns. We weren't even talking about the Cowboys game.
Not wrong.
All right, Mr. Buush, are you with me or with Sean? It's pretty much like pick your side, Sauce or Sean today.
It's been like that today. I'm on the Sauce side again here. I think this is a blowout. I mean, let's just face it. Like, Detroit is giving up 8.1 yards in the passing game on their defense, and you're telling me that they're going to pair that with 5 points. They're only giving up 0.6 in the last 3 games in the rush. Or no, they're giving up 5.5 yards per rush in the last 3 games as well. So you're going to combine that and tell me that they're going to be able to keep this game close. I think the Giants are going to run all over them, and I think the play action game is going to be just way too good for Detroit to handle. And Detroit historically just plays bad on the road, or not as good on the road. So I'm definitely heavy on the Giants here.
I can feel that. Yeah, that's why I think it has blowout potential, but also, like, it's the Giants. So there's always the factor of, like, they can suck. So
yeah, that's true. It can happen.
Let's move on to... I mean, I actually think there's value. I'm on the Ravens. I actually think there's value betting-wise, but as far as, like I said, I'm going down to my family's house. Like, I really hope this game doesn't hit my screen very often. Because, I truly think... I actually think my notes for this game are 1 sentence long. Let me just make sure I didn't add something and forget about it.
Is it something like, Baltimore has Lamar Jackson?
I think it says something like, I will be fading the Panthers against any team not in the NFC South. Oh, here we go. Carolina is 0-6 against the spread against teams not in the NFC South. I truly think this is the worst team in the NFL, and I don't believe it's close. Probably going to be fading them every single game for the rest of the season. They only have 2 division games left, the Panthers. That's week 17 and 18. So that means you'll probably see me fade the Panthers 6 consecutive weeks. In the meantime, you can bet Baker Mayfield. I welcome you to. I'm not. Sean?
Yeah, I'm with you. Just as you said, the Panthers only show up apparently in division games. That's not this one. And then Lamar is 14-3 in his career versus NFC teams. He absolutely owns them. And they're getting healthier. Mark Andrews is back for them. And I'm not worried about the wide receiver issues for them. I mean, if you watch Lamar's career, he's got it done with nobody at wide receiver all his entire career. So I'm not concerned about the injuries they have. And like you said, this Panthers team is just in a bad way. Ravens heavy.
Heavy? Okay.
Yeah.
And Mark Andrews was practicing, so I hope he plays, but I don't think it's been confirmed that he's playing as of this time. Mr. Buusha.
Yeah, I actually all the entire week I was on Carolina, but I'm on Baltimore 100% now. I can't, like, the one thing that does scare me about taking the Ravens with this high with this many points to cover is they've let teams back in the game in the fourth quarter quite a lot, so that is a little bit scary. And they also, because of that, are 0-3-1 at home against the spread, so that's going to be a little scary as well. But how is Carolina going to be effective in this game? I mean, they have Baker playing quarterback. I mean, Baker, the guy who can't see over the middle of the field, so he doesn't throw it there, so he throws picks on the outside instead. I can't trust Baker at all, and I do like that Deontay Foreman's been doing well for Carolina, but that's not going to be enough. Baltimore should destroy Carolina this week.
This guy J-Bone's funny. Just pray that Baker doesn't wake up feeling too dangerous today. I'm assuming that's a Russell.
Baker's getting his insurance commercials back today.
Is he gonna wave a Carolina Panthers flag and stick it in the middle of the field?
Yeah, I heard someone. I don't know if I saw it on Twitter or I forget where someone said it, but someone was like, "Yo, Baker Mayfield leads in NFL history in commercial to touchdown ratio." That was funny. Hold on, this is off centered and it's messing with me. All right. Anyway, Browns at Bills. All right, I'm on Buffalo, but I don't love it at all. All right, to me, this just strikes me as a really good get right spot for the Bills, but like I completely can understand. There's definitely, like, if you go by numbers and look at some stats, there's a strong case you can make for the Browns without a doubt. And let's be honest, the Bills haven't looked like quote-unquote Super Bowl favorites in several weeks now. But Cleveland just can't seem to do anything right. Like, how many times have we seen the Browns come out? And a few of these times I had bet the Browns. And how many times have we seen Cleveland come out and clearly be the better team in the first quarter? They're running the ball with Chubb. They're moving the chains. The Myles Garrett is a big stop. And like and it's like when you watch a quarter and a half of football, it's almost halftime. Cleveland's been clearly the better team, and somehow they're down 7-6. Or like how many? It's just every single time. It doesn't matter if the numbers are pointing to Cleveland because they just find a way to screw it up. The Bills' run defense just got gashed by the Jets. Then the following week, they got gashed by the Vikings. Back-to-back weeks, the Bills' run defense hasn't really shown up, and that's a concern when you play the Browns, without a doubt. Like I said, I completely hear you if you're making a case for the Browns, but it's the Browns, and they always find a way. And also, the Bills, it's such a get-right spot, like I said before. It's just Jacoby Brissett's second to last start with the Browns. Let's be honest, I think the fan base, probably even a bunch of guys in that locker room, have mentally moved on from the fact that Jacoby Brissett is their quarterback. Not because they don't like him or don't trust him, just because like things aren't going great this season. I think everyone's kind of looking ahead to the Deshaun Watson era. I'm going to lay the 7.5, and I think I put 0.75 units on it, so it's not like it's a super light bet, but it's not one of my absolute favorites at all.
Yeah, I actually like the Bills in this one. Since it got moved in, I had no interest in this game if it was going to be played in Buffalo, honestly. But now that it's moved indoors, it's going to be a fast track. I really like this Bills passing game. Josh Allen is no longer even on the injury report at all for the Bills, and he has to eventually get back to being Josh Allen. You would assume. Turnovers galore the last few games for the Bills. Even in the games that they won, he still turned the ball over. I think, like you said, this is a huge get-right spot for the Bills. Jacoby Brissett, as you pointed out, is a dead man walking. He knows no matter what he does for this offense, he's getting replaced. When they take on the Houston Texans, Deshaun Watson will be under center in that game. And like you said, the Browns start out the games awesome. Last week against the Dolphins, came out firing, walked right down the field, scored. And then that was all she wrote for this Browns offense. Got blown out. Couldn't stop the Dolphins' passing attack at all. I expect Stephon Diggs, Isaiah McKenzie, Gabriel Davis, and then Nyheim Hines, another week in this Bills system. I think you're going to see him worked in that passing game as well this week. I really like the Bills here to cover this number. I just don't think that the Browns have the offense to be able to keep pace with this Bills offense in this one.
Yeah, 100%. I could see that. Boosh?
Yeah, I did a little more research this morning. Initially, I was on Cleveland plus 7.5, but I'm actually on Buffalo minus 7.5. So the reason why I was looking towards Cleveland is they're first in the last 3 games in passing yards per attempt at 8.8. And but they're not averaging as many yards as they have been on the ground. And I understand that right now, I mean, the Bills are giving up in the last 3 games 6 yards per rush attempt, so that's a little scary. But I just think this Cleveland defense is god awful. And what are they supposed to? How are they supposed to keep up with the Bills offense that's this octane? And I just cannot go with Cleveland here, especially after, like you said, Kyle. There's so many times this year that I've been on the Cleveland. They've been the better team, and then they find some way to fuck it up. So I got to stay away from that bad juju.
Someone just said Bills game under. No, I obviously the total's all the way up at 50.5. I think it's at 50 even now. I think now that it's indoors, I would probably lean over, but I don't have the total written down for that one purposely because I really don't know. I'm not gonna just throw out a meaningless guess. So I don't have a lean on the total on that one. And yes, so something I was just looking at actually as you guys were talking. So Cleveland, if you remember, has been first in the NFL in yards per carry for most of the season. They're all the way back to 6th now at 4.9. And if you just sort it by just the last 3 games, Cleveland Browns are all the way down at, what is this? 21st in yards per carry. So even the run game for Cleveland is falling. And that's what you grasp to. If you're betting the Browns, you like hold on to that run game. And even that hasn't been there. So I'm on the Bills. All right. Next game. The Raiders are winning this game, fellas. Raiders are straight up winning this game. And I have dynamite points. In fact, after I'm done talking, even if you guys are on the Broncos, you might be like, you know what? I think I'm on the Raiders now. Because these are dynamite numbers here. All right. So, go to my Raiders notes. Here we go. Oh, you know what? I have a second bet too. I'm putting it in. I'm on the Raiders. Team total over 19.5. It's at minus 105 too. Nice little value on that. So let me get this off my name. All right. So look, the Raiders are trash. I'm not gonna try to sit here and pitch you on the Raiders being a good team. They're poorly coached. They spent all this money on a pass rush that doesn't exist. I get it. I get it all. Team has no identity. Is it a running team that centers around Josh Jacobs, or is it a pass team that features Devontae Adams? I don't even think they know. But there's a couple things to consider here. Number one, how much do you trust Denver? We can sit here and shit on the Raiders all day, and they've been awful. You know, if the Raiders win this game, they're not in last place. Denver is. Like, Denver's not been good. They've been equally as bad as the Raiders, and they could, like I said, be in last place behind the Raiders after today. Denver's defense is dope against the pass. Not so much against the run. I mean, we're seeing teams rip 5 a carry on Denver several times this year. You want to know a perfect example of this happening? The Raiders game early in the year. The Raiders rushed for 212 yards on 5.6 yards per carry on the Broncos. Josh Jacobs had 28 carries, 144 yards, and 2 touchdowns. The Broncos had 0 answers for the Raiders' run game earlier. What has changed since then? Oh, yeah. Oh, no. Something has changed. The Broncos traded their best defensive player. Bradley Chubb isn't there anymore. How exactly are you going to stop the Raiders' run game that you couldn't stop a few weeks back without your best defensive player? You're not. And speaking of Denver Broncos missing in this game, they're going to be without Jerry Jeudy and KJ Hamler. Jerry Jeudy is the only player on the Broncos roster that has more than 1 touchdown catch this year. So you take Jerry Jeudy off, not one player on the Broncos roster has 2 touchdown catches. What are you expecting the Broncos to do here? You're putting your faith in Russell Wilson? The dude has lost his marbles. I'm on the Raiders. They win this game straight up.
Yeah.
Sean.
I'm on the opposite side here, but this is easily my least favorite pick of the week. And The reason I'm signing with the Broncos is they have the number 2 pass defense the number 1 passing defense in the NFL. They should be able to limit what the Raiders can do through the air. And then the Raiders do have Josh Jacobs, who's having a pretty good season. That being said, they want to throw the ball, but I do think Josh Jacobs could have a good game in this one. And then defensively, the last time they played, yes, the Broncos defense got gashed through the run game, but Russell Wilson actually looked like a competent NFL quarterback. He threw for a couple touchdowns, ran a touchdown in this one. And yes, the Broncos offense is going to be missing Jerry Jeudy, obviously, but they've been missing him all year. I'm not expecting that to be like a super big difference in this one. This Broncos offense is going to look exactly how it's looked all year now without Jeudy. That being said, they're at versus this 32nd ranked defense per DVOA for the Raiders. Derek Carr is crying at the podium, like looking for sympathy now because of how bad this season has gone for the Raiders. These are 2 bad teams though, 2 terrible head coaches. It's hard to trust either team, but I'm going to side with the home team in this one. Broncos country, let's ride.
He had to end it with that. I think you meant when you said Jerry Jeudy hasn't been in the lineup all year. I think you meant KJ Hamler because Jerry Jeudy leads the team in touchdowns. He's been in there. I think you meant KJ Hamler. Boosh?
I mean, I would rather have an emotional quarterback than a robotic one that's still using the old call-outs for the Seahawks.
That's true.
I'm definitely on the Raiders 2.5 here, and like, the question for me is who gets to 20 points first, and I think the Raiders are more apt to do that. I mean, the Broncos haven't proven week in, week out they can get past 10 or 13. I mean, it's just not something I'm willing to risk it on. Jerry Jeudy not being available does like help my side for me even more because you're not seeing that target. Devontae Adams is probable for the game when I looked earlier this morning. So if you got that target in there, I mean, he's been electric just about the entire year with Carr. And the thing is, like Kyle hit it on the head. Jacobs in the first game against them, 28 carries or 144 yards and multiple touchdowns. Like Jacobs has been one of the best running backs this season. I don't think it gets talked about enough because the Raiders are so shitty overall. But I'm definitely on the Raiders plus 2.5 here, and I think they win the game outright.
Yes, sir. The Raiders. Sean, you're taking an L on that one. Guarantee it.
I would not be shocked.
Next game. All right. So I'm a little concerned because this pick almost seems too obvious. I'm on the Steelers plus 3.5. It almost feels too easy. To the fact where it's like, oh, shit, what am I missing? Why are they getting 3 and a hook? I feel like this should be Steelers plus 1, maybe. But anyway, let's talk about it. I'm on Pittsburgh, like I said. And like at that, and the reason I think it looks too obvious is because every single number I looked at points to Pittsburgh here. First of all, I don't think people realize how tough of a stretch the Steelers just went through schedule-wise. And the Steelers just dropped in value in the public's brain, and everyone's mind's like, the Steelers suck. There's a lot of teams that you would think suck if they played the Jets, at Buffalo, Tampa Bay, at Miami, at Philadelphia. I mean, most teams are going 1-4 or lower during that stretch. And that's what the Bills did. They go 1-4. The Bills have won their last 2 home games. They're 2-0 in their last 2 home games. The home game before that, they lost a heartbreaker to the Jets. And again, at the time, we were like, the Steelers just blew a lead to the Jets. Wow, they suck. Turns out the Jets are a pretty good football team. So that's not a 24-20 loss to the Jets isn't as ugly now looking back as it was when it happened. Because now we're like, oh shit, the Jets are a top 10 team. The loss, it doesn't look as bad. You know what I'm saying? And that's how kind of I feel about the Steelers. It's like everything looked bad at the time, and now that you look back, they really don't look that bad. They just beat the Saints at home. Before that, they beat Tampa Bay at home. The Steelers defense have their guys back, T.J. Watt and Minkah Fitzpatrick. They haven't had both these guys on the field since week 1 against Cincinnati. And you remember how that game went? When T.J. Watt, before he got hurt in that game, the score was 17-3 Steelers, I believe. I think it's 17-3. Joe Burrow had 3 interceptions. And then TJ Watt got hurt. The game changed. Steelers ended up winning in overtime. They're both back. We haven't seen both these guys on the field together in a long time. I see. And another thing about this game, I feel like everyone's dying to come with the Bengals are back take, right? Cincinnati's back. But when were they ever here to come back from? They were 10-7 last year. They had some very good luck in the playoffs, and that's not like, oh, lucky. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying, look at the games. They were very fortunate. They weren't beating up on anybody. They were 10-7. Like, they went to the Super Bowl, but were they even a top 5 team in the AFC last year? Probably not.
They were 17th in DVOA.
Exactly. Like, they were an average team that got hot at the right time, and I think they're an average team again this year. And once again, they're still missing Jamar Chase. I think the Steelers win. I think this line is wrong.
Yeah, I'm with you. Week 1, we were both on the Steelers, and we both cashed. And look how we cashed that bet. I mean, TJ Watt and the Steelers defensive line just absolutely wrecked this game. Joe Burrow fumbled through 4 interceptions. It was just a downright shitty performance out of the Bengals offense in that one. Now you're telling me the Steelers are at home and missing their number 1 wide receiver in Jamar Chase, and they're going to be 3.5-point favorites in this game? No shot in hell. TJ Watt is back. I was all over the Steelers last week versus the Saints because Watt was back. And I, like you just pointed out with their schedule, why am I blanking on my thoughts right now? Their schedule, they ran a gauntlet.
Yeah.
They've been better. They're a better team than their numbers would show, as you pointed out. And then people are severely underestimating how big TJ Watt is for this defense. Like, you're gonna be like, oh, they're getting one guy back. Yeah, they'll be improved. No, it's literally they're a bottom 8 defense when he's off the field. When he's on the field, they become a top 6 defense in terms of EPA. That is a asinine difference. They're one of the best defenses in the league when he's there. I have to take the points here, and the Steelers might win this game outright, as you said.
Love it. Are you with us or against us?
I'm with you. I'm with you 100%. Everything you guys have said, I'm just going to add in one thing. Mike Tomlin, in his career, when he's an underdog against the AFC North, is 5-0-2 against the spread.
Ooh.
He's never not covered a spread in this situation. So
Kyle's a big Mike
I mean,
Tomlin
you look
guy,
at both
too, so
teams.
that's a good
Yeah.
I am not.
Yeah, I love it. So Mike Tomlin is just, obviously, if he's only been not favored 7 times in AFC North games, I just think that tells you about how great he's done over his career at Pittsburgh. But also, I mean, both of these teams, if you're looking at this, I mean, the only downside to Pittsburgh is they're in the last 3 games they're only averaging 5.7 yards per pass, but Cincinnati's given up 8.5. So that's something that kind of favors the Steelers here. So I'll let the Steelers upset the Bengals today, boys.
Let's go. Steelers Nation. We're all on it. Next game. All right. Sorry, Dak. On the flakes. It's not win my top 7 bets though. Just disclosure, it's not. I think I put 0.75 units on it, so it's whatever. So I ended up settling on the Vikings here. The reasons are, I put this on YouTube, so I'm sure a lot of you have already heard my reasoning. I'll just briefly summarize it. I mean, like, when are you going to start giving Minnesota some respect? 8-1. Their only loss is in prime time on the road at Philadelphia, a team that a lot of people say is the best team in the NFL. I mean, at what point are you going to start giving this team some credit? Most people don't even have them power ranked in the top 5. Like, what the hell? They just went into Buffalo and beat Josh Allen in the snow. What else do you want them to do before you just admit that they're a good team? I don't know. People are just so obsessed with, like, what they thought the season was going to be before, that, like, the Chiefs could go 10-7 and people will be like, oh, Chiefs, still the best team in the league.
Nobody wants to see them.
Yeah, right. You don't want to see those Chiefs and that horrible defense. So I think the key to this game is Dalvin Cook against the Dallas run defense. Yeah, we all have kind of got it in our heads that this Dallas defense is elite, but I'm starting to question that. And no, I'm not just talking about the last 2 games. But they can't stop the run, and they really didn't play anybody that could run the ball for a while. And now, the last month or so, it's starting to get exposed. The last 3 weeks, the Cowboys are 30th in rush yards allowed per game and 28th in yards per carry allowed. This run defense isn't just not good, it might be straight up bad. Meanwhile, Dalvin Cook. Have you seen Dalvin Cook's numbers at home? This dude dominates in Minnesota. Dalvin Cook is averaging 97.8 rush yards per game and 5.2 yards per carry at home. That's what this dude is averaging. And if you're the Cowboys, how do you game plan to stop Dalvin Cook with Justin Jefferson on the field after what he did last week? That was so crazy. The only concern I have for the Vikings offense would be Kirk Cousins in the game of the week. Yes, it's not a primetime spot, but it's like almost a primetime spot. That 425 game of the week is a spotlight game. So Kirk Cousins in the spotlight doesn't have the best history of performances. But then on the Vikings defense, this is what sold me, is because I already knew all that. That came to mind. But the Vikings run defense is so good, right? It's third in yards per carry allowed. The defensive line is 7th in adjusted line yards. This run defense is elite for Minnesota. So, in order for the Cowboys to go on the road in Minnesota and beat the Vikings, Dak Prescott's going to have to throw the ball. Here's the thing. That's the exact opposite of what has been successful for the Cowboys. Dak Prescott has started 4 games, right? When he attempts 28 or more passes in a game, Cowboys are 0-2 in those games. When he attempts less than 28 passes, the Cowboys are 2-0. So you can understand that's why that's a little concerning. Because we just looked at the Vikings run defense and we decided, oh shit, Cowboys are going to have to throw the ball. And then you look at the Cowboys' success, it's like, oh, when the Cowboys try to throw the ball, they lose. When they run the ball, they win. I don't think they're going to be able to run the ball. Minnesota plus 1.5. Sean?
Yeah, I hate it. Especially after last week. But I'm on the Cowboys here, minus the 1.5. I can't believe I went back to them after what they did last week. They ruined my top bets. Perfect.
Oh, yeah, yep.
So I hate the fact that I'm on them again. But Kirk Cousins versus pressure versus being able to play from a clean pocket, the numbers difference are drastically jumps down when he's pressured. And he's only really been pressured twice this year. That came week 2 versus the Eagles, and we saw he threw multiple interceptions. Last week versus the Bills, he was pressured. They did come out and get that win, but that was the only other time he's really been under pressure. But he did throw multiple interceptions in this one, and I think the Cowboys are going to be able to get after him and pressure him in this game. Anthony Barr is back for the Cowboys. Now, while I think like Anthony Barr is like kind of washed, like he's not really like a difference maker on his own anymore, schematically for the Cowboys, he's a huge get back because he's one of their better coverage linebackers that they have. And when he's out, Michael Parsons fills that role and drops back into coverage more often than he's rushing the passer. So with Barr being back, it's going to free up Parsons to just do what he does best and get after the quarterback here. And I think he's going to harass Kirk Cousins in this one. He's going to get a couple sacks, especially versus Vikings tackles that are kind of banged up. They're not 100% in this one. I don't think they're going to miss the game, but they're not 100%. And then the Cowboys offense, like you pointed out, they might struggle to run the ball in this one. And I understand the numbers where if they throw the ball, the offense looks worse. But they should be able to have their way here versus Vikings secondary. Like Patrick Peterson looked awesome last week. He's also 97 years old. So CeeDee Lamb and these Cowboys wide receivers should be able to have a big one. I like the Cowboys to cover here, and I'm going to probably hate myself at 7 o'clock tonight.
Yo, this guy, J-Bone and Rob Reiner are hilarious. Oh, no, not Anthony Barr.
But I said it's not because Anthony Barr. It's because of what he allows Michael Parsons to do.
No, I thought it was a good point.
Anthony Barr is a fossil at this point, but...
It's the guy's name is Rob Reiner. I think that sounds like a fake name. I think he's just trolling. All right, Boosh, you with me or Sean?
I'm with Sean on this one. He actually nailed the point I wanted to nail about what Anthony Barr allows Micah Parsons to do. And I just think that if you're in this game, if you're thinking Dak's going to turn it over a couple times like he did last week against the Cowboys, then why don't you think that Kirk's going to do the same thing? Because Kirk against pressure is just horrible. And I just think at the end of the game, I think this is a field goal win by Dallas at the very end. I cannot trust Cousins against pressure here, and I know that oh gosh, why the name leaving? Dalvin Cook's been absolutely crazy, but I don't think he can just do it on his own. I think he needs the ball not to be turned over by Kirk, and I think Kirk's going to do that today.
Oh, thank you, Christopher O'Donnell. Sean, he's pointing out that Patrick Peterson is 32, not 97. That would be a record.
I was way off on that one. My bad, Patrick.
Off by 65 years.
Is that one of your crutch numbers, Sean? Because like, if I'm thinking like somebody's gonna kill the spread, like in college, like Alabama versus Austin P or something, I'm just like, oh yeah, this is minus 97. I'm taking it. Like, that's just usually like a crutch. That's like a crutch number for me.
And next, Chiefs at Chargers Sunday Night Football. Bolts are winning, bro. Bolts are winning this game.
Let's go.
So yeah, of course I'm on the Chargers. Another one that I put on YouTube, so I'll be brief. I know, as someone said in the comments, I have a tendency to ramble. My bad. So first of all, last 5 matchups between the Chiefs and Chargers. Chiefs win by 3. Chiefs win in overtime. Chargers win by 6. Chargers win by 17. Chiefs win in overtime. There's just not many Chief blowouts in the recent history here. And when I say not many, I mean 0. Chargers can't run the ball. In fact, they barely even try to run the ball. They run the ball just 34% of all offensive snaps. It's almost dead last in the NFL. But it doesn't matter, because look what an opposing quarterbacks have done to the Chiefs. I mean, actually, I'm not going to read all through that. But you got a bunch of quarterbacks that throwing 259, 2 touchdowns, 303, 2 touchdowns, 329, 3 touchdowns, 385, 3 touchdowns, 334, 3 touchdowns. You got quarterbacks taking turns, putting up big numbers on the Chiefs. Herbert's going to just take his turn. He already threw 334 and 3 on the Chiefs. He'll probably throw another 350 and 3 tonight. Chiefs offense should be fine without Juju Smith-Schuster and McCall Hardman, even though I do think Juju Smith-Schuster has really implemented himself as an important part of that offense, but they'll be fine with Kelsey and the way Kadarius Toney plays. But here's the thing, just like the Chargers, the Chiefs are a pass-first offense. Even with Pacheco does give him a little more of a running element, but still, this is a passing offense, and the Chargers defense, you know, all those numbers I just read of the Chiefs getting torched by quarterbacks, the Chargers defense hasn't allowed a single 300-yard passer all season. So you got 2 passing offenses, 2 superstar quarterbacks, 1 defense is getting torched by quarterbacks week after week, and the other defense hasn't let up a 300-yard passer all year. Khalil Mack's getting going off the edge, making plays. I think the Chargers have a real good shot to win this game, but regardless, I think I'm pretty confident that plus 5.5 is the right side to be on. I'm on the Chargers. Sean?
Yeah, I'm with you on the Chargers. Every time these two teams play, it's a close one-scoring game. If you guys, obviously, if you're listening, you're probably a Sauce Network follower or subscriber to the VIP. We had the Chargers in their last matchup versus the Chiefs, and it was the most exhilarating game as a bettor, like, all season so far. Herbert gets knocked out, then just comes back like a freaking superhero with broken ribs, and then covers and throws a meaningless touchdown on 4th down to back the recover and hit the under as well for us in that one. Forever love that guy for that one. But that being said, these two teams are not heading in the wrong direction, but the Chargers are getting healthier with Keenan Allen and Mike Williams both expected to play in this one. And then the Chiefs are going to be without Juju Smith-Schuster and McCall Hardman. That's going to be a lot of Kadarius Toney and a lot of Sky Moore in this one. Obviously, they have Marcus Valdez-Scantling in this one, but Toney and Moore are going to have to take on bigger roles. And I don't know if Moore is ready to do that, especially versus this Chargers defense. I think the the Chargers are able to keep them within the number here. And not to mention the Chiefs, as we always point out, people like to pretend that they make money betting the Chiefs. You don't, because they're terrible against the spread. And then even last week at a big number, they covered by 0.5 point versus the Jags. So I'll gladly take the points here with the Chargers.
Yeah, that's in YouTube comments. You got people talk about how nice they are betting the Chiefs every week. Like, you know they've been below 500 against the spread for 3 straight years, right? Like, you know that. And to this guy, he said, but Mahomes is built different. He was when I was talking about how the Chargers haven't let up a 300-yard passer yet. They already played Mahomes. He threw for 235. They already played him. So he's in the list of people that didn't. He didn't even make it close to 300 yards. Boosh, are you on the Chiefs or the Chargers?
I'm with you guys on the Chargers. This is my favorite bet of the week. I mean, the Chargers getting Keenan Allen back and getting Mike Williams back in the same week, and you already mentioned everything I was going to mention in the last 5 games between these two teams. The only game that has been a blowout was when the Chargers won by 17, and that was 2 years ago. So if you're looking now at how everything's been, this is always a close matchup, especially when it's at LA. So there's no way that I don't understand why it's plus 5.5. You think the books would be looking at the last 2 years and just be like, you know what? Let's just get this down to 3 or 2.5 because we might can make some money off of people. But no, they're just going to give some money away today. That's what I think.
All right, that's all the games. Sean, do you have a parlay or anything?
Yeah,
like to share?
I was gonna throw out the 2 touchdown ones that I do. There's actually legs that I really like this week for what I do, but I know a lot of people can't bet that. I know that's like exclusively like specific books type thing, so I won't do that. But I have a 3-leg that I really like. It's the Ravens minus 13, the Eagles minus 6.5, and then the Chargers plus 5.5. You can actually get that coming back at plus 582.
Chargers plus 5.5, and that's a 582.
Yep.
There you go. Boosh, I don't know if you're a parlay guy. I know you give out those crazy ones that you send in my DMs every week. He'll be like, I'm like busy as hell making videos, right? And I'll get a DM and I'll open it up and be like, what do you think of this one? It's like a 13-leg parlay. I'm like, what do I think? I think it's terrible. I think it's a bad investment.
I do this. I mean, if a $1 is a bad investment, I'll take it. You know what I mean? Like, it's just a fun thing to do. I don't take those seriously. Don't get me wrong. Like, I mean, yeah, I'll have a positive record on it, but I'm not expecting it to win. I'm just doing it for fun.
What do you think of this one? Let me get on my reading glasses and go through all these legs real quick.
It's actually really funny because I've done it every night with the NBA just about, and through this season I've already hit it 4 times. So I'm
nice.
Just like retire the NFL side of it.
You quit while you're ahead.
NBA. But
do you have a parlay you want to give out or no?
This is not. I do. Sorry. I do want to take the Pittsburgh money line to go with New York Jets minus 3 or plus 3.5 or money line, and then the New York Giants money line as well. So I like those 3 being on the same one.
Do you know the odds of that offhand?
Yeah, 1 second. I gotta pull it up real quick. I had it ready and then I switched screens and I completely forgot.
Yeah, a dog money line parlay this week does not sound bad.
Yeah, I got a dog
plus
one.
921.
Ooh, nice. I have a dog one on the VIP that I want to hook them up because the NFL Sundays haven't been kind to the VIP recently, so I want to make sure they get hooked up. I almost forgot. I said on Twitter I would give out. Damn it! What did I call it? Oh my god, I can't remember the name. I said I would give out some kind of lock. But anyway, my guarantee. Seabiscuit Super Luck is what it was called.
That's what it is.
So before I say this,
there you go. There you go.
But before I say this, the people that know me know that I'm just joking around. Like, I would never use the word luck. There's no such thing in sports betting. I do really like this to happen, and I think it's great value. But I would never use the word luck. So I don't want someone to be like, I bet $20,000 and I can't pay my mortgage. Like that, it's sports betting. Anything can happen. That being said, the Jets will beat the Patriots today. Guaranteed. Guarantee it. Not a chance in hell.
I was really hoping your prediction would not be wrong.
I thought for the sake of the show, I was hoping you'd give out a winner. What is the Jets money line at? Because I want to put the odds up here before we close. Jets might win by 10. Jets are gonna get all up in that butt.
Oh, also breaking news:
Plus
Linval, Joseph, and Sue are gonna play today for the Eagles.
Beautiful, because I'm betting the Eagles heavy as hell. Jets money line plus 140. That's going to cash. The Patriots have won 13 straight games against the Jets. That ends today. Ask yourself this. What side of history do you want to be on? I want to be on the Jets side. Jets are winning. Guys, thank you for joining me. Everyone, thanks for watching. Everyone, enjoy your Sunday. Let's make it a winning one. Hopefully. Let's make it a green one. I'll talk to you guys on Twitter. Later.
Later.
Peace.